Welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about how to navigate. In other words, how to find our way around using our maps and a compass. Now, if you watched our San Juan Rapids Trail Adventure video, or you remember some of my map lessons at Cubes and Earth Explorers, then you'll remember that we talked about the 3 W questions. So let's review what those are. Question number 1, where am I now? You have to know where you're starting from before you can start navigating to somewhere else, which means you have to pay attention to the things that are around you, like a parking lot or a big trail intersection, or maybe you're next to a pond or a stream, so that you can find where you're at on the map. Question number 2. Where do I want to go? It's important that you stop and think about where you want to go next. You can't just start hiking if you don't know where it is you're going to go. So you have to decide where you want to go on the map, like one of our challenge locations, and then figure out which trails you need to take to get from where you are to where you want to go. Question number 3. What direction do I need to go to get there? Before you can start walking, you want to be sure you're headed in the right direction. Now, in some places it's pretty obvious, like when you're standing at the beginning of a trail and there's really only one direction that you can take. But other times you really have to think a little bit harder, and it helps to have a compass with you to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. Now, I've included a special compass in the adventure packets that you can check out at school, and I'll show you how to use it in just a minute. All right, so we reviewed our 3 W questions, and we've got our maps, we've got our compass, and we've got our trail guide. But before we start, I want to show you a couple of important things about the maps. Sacramento Bar is much too big to fit on just one map and still be able to see all the different little trails that there are out here. So I had to split the map into 4 parts called quarter sheets. On the trail guide sheet, there's a small map that shows you how the 4 quarter sheet maps all fit together, like this. Now, on every map, there are 4 directions. North is up, south is down, east is to the right, and west is to the left. These are called our cardinal directions. You can see these directions on the little 4-pointed arrow in the corner of our map, which is called a compass rose, and that shows us our cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. To describe a direction that's in between the cardinal directions, we just combine 2 of them. So if we're talking about a direction that is between north and east, we would say that that direction is northeast. So this direction would be northwest, this direction is southwest, and this one is southeast. Our 4 quarter section maps at Sacramento Bar are labeled by their compass directions. So we have a northwest quarter, a northeast quarter, a southwest quarter, and a southeast quarter. When you come to Sacramento Bar, you can come in from Bannister Park here in the northwest quarter, or through the Sacramento Bar entrance station at the end of Pennsylvania Avenue over in the northeast quarter. So be sure you know what entrance you're starting from so that you start with the right map. Let's do a little practice navigation together so I can show you how to use your maps and your compass, along with our 3 W questions, to find your way. We're going to pretend that we're all together and that we just came through the Pennsylvania Avenue entrance at Sacramento Bar. So first, we're going to start our adventure on the northeast quarter sheet. On our map, we can see that Pennsylvania Avenue comes in here in the upper right-hand corner and ends in a large parking lot. Well, it sure looks like I'm in a parking lot right here, so I've just answered our first W question. Where am I right now? I can look around for other signs to know where I am too. Your trail guide has a map symbols key on it so you know what kind of trail each color and line represents. I can see that the green line represents a paved bike trail. Well, here's a paved bike trail right in front of me, so that's helpful. I can also see where the bike trail curves around, and I can see on my map where there are areas of open grass covered by trees. So, looking at everything all around me, I think I am right about here on the map. So, I know where I am. Now I need to decide where I want to go. Well, for this trip, I'd like to hike to a place on the map that I call Spaghetti Junction. So, if I know where I am and where I want to go, I just have to decide which trail I want to take to get there. Well, I can see on the map that if I follow the Bannister bike trail off to the west and up and around this bend, that I can catch this trail called Stonehenge Lane and follow it south and then west over to Spaghetti Junction. Which brings me to my last W question. What direction do I want to go to get there? Well, on the map, I can see that I need to start by walking west on the bike trail. And from the parking lot, it's pretty easy to tell which direction to go without even looking at my compass. But because we want to be good navigators, let's talk about using our compass right now. There are different kinds of compasses. This one is called a lensatic compass. And what's special about it is that it has a floating inner dial instead of a little skinny needle to show you where north is. Like all compasses, a lensatic compass always points to where magnetic north is. So to use this compass, the first thing you have to do is to fold open the cover and hold the compass flat so that the inner dial, that floating dial, can adjust itself. There's a little bubble level in one corner, and when the bubble is centered in the little red circle, you know you've got the compass level. The outer ring on the compass can turn, but you don't really need it for our navigation. I like to keep the little black triangle on the outer dial pointed towards the front of the compass, just to make it easier to see. Now, when I'm holding the compass flat, the green triangle on the inner dial always points to the north. So if I want to point my whole compass to the north, what I need to do is hold it flat and slowly rotate my body around until that green triangle lines up with the front of the compass like this. It's important to move slowly though and give the dial a second or two to settle so you know you're in the right direction. All right. We decided that we want to follow the bike trail to the west from the parking lot. So, just to be sure I'm heading in the right direction, I'm going to stand next to the bike trail, I'm going to open my compass, I'm going to hold it flat, and I'm going to rotate my body around until the W, the west, on the inner dial lines up with the front of my compass. All right, so now I know that west is that way. So I know which direction I'm going. Now I'm ready to start hiking. While I'm hiking though, I should be paying attention to what other things I happen to see along the way so I can compare them with my map and keep track of where I'm going. Okay, I've come around a bend in the bike trail and I found a trail off to my left. Now I know that the Stonehenge Lane trail that I'm looking for should be the first one that I come to on the bike trail as I'm heading west, and that I want to follow that one off to the south. So I think I'm right here on the map. This seems like a good time to double check my direction though. So I'm going to get out my compass and I'm going to point the front of my compass in the direction of the trail, and I'm going to see where the inner dial is pointing to. Now, it looks like this trail is heading off into the south, which is generally the direction that I want to go. So I'm pretty sure this is it. And I've covered my 3W questions. I know where I am, I know where I want to go, and I know which direction I need to go to get there. All right, I've walked a little bit further down the Stonehenge Lane trail. I've passed a couple of paths on my right and one trail off on my left. And I started to get into some trees right here. So now I'm at a spot where the trail looks like it splits off into two directions. One off to my right, sort of west and a little bit south, but part of the trail also seems to continue south into a more forested area. So this is a good time to double check my map and my compass. Now, looking at my compass, I open it up and I point it down the trails, and I can see that the path off to my right is headed in a mostly west direction, while the path off to my left is headed in a mostly south direction. So, looking at my map sheet, I think that I'm about right here. The Heavenly Ridge Trail is the one that's going off to the west, and the Stonehenge Lane Trail is the one that continues off to my south. So now I know where I am, I know where I want to go, and I know what direction I need to go to get there. So I'm going to keep following this trail to the south and see where it takes me. Just remember that as you hike along, you need to keep checking your map and look at the things that are around you so that you can keep track of where you think you are. All right, well, I finally made it to Spaghetti Junction. Now, I call it this because there's a whole bunch of different paths that come together here, and it kind of looks like a big tangle of noodles on the map to me. Now, when you come to a trail junction like this, with a lot of trails heading in different directions, it's super important to stop and pay careful attention to where you are and what direction each trail is going, which is why you've got your maps and you've got your compass. I'm going to end our practice adventure right here because I want you to discover all the fun stuff there is to see out here for yourself. I'm super excited for you guys to come explore out here. Just remember to keep asking your 3W questions and to check your compass direction and your maps really often, and you guys will become expert explorers in no time. If you haven't already watched it yet, make sure you check out the video about how to recognize and avoid poison oak though. Well, that's all for now. I'm going to head off to follow one of my favorite trails called the Secret Squirrel Trail. I hope you guys have a great time out here finding your challenge locations. Be sure to watch the challenge location videos while you're out here so you can learn about the cool stuff there is to see at each one and take a picture of yourself when you get there. And remember, be mindful, be kind to one another, and come on out here to get outside.